So we recently saw Toy Story 4, but before we get into anything about the movie, this is your spoiler warning. There may be some slight spoilers in here, so if you haven't seen Toy Story 4 yet, turn away now. So in Toy Story 4, we are introduced to new characters in the Toy Story franchise, with the most popular being Forky.
Yeah.
And Bonnie makes Forky when she goes to kindergarten, because her parents wouldn't let her bring any toys to school with her. So she made a friend there. She wasn't really making friends at first at school, which was kind of sad. But she makes Forky, and Forky becomes like everything to Bonnie. So they go on like a family road trip.
Yeah.
And she brings Forky, of course, and along with the other toys.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where the story takes place. It begins and takes place most of the time. Like most of it takes place at like the carnival and the antique shop.
Yeah.
This movie really is about Woody kind of coming into his own.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of, like, the story was good. Like I liked like the character arc that they had for him and everything. But the one issue that I did have with this movie is like it's really about Woody only.
Yeah.
And like all the other characters, like they were in it, like Buzz and Jesse, whatever, but they didn't really have like too prominent of a role in the movie.
Yeah, that was one of the main things I said when we first left the movie, was that like all the original characters like Slinky and Rex and Mr. Potato Head and all of them, they were in the story, but they hardly had any lines.
Yeah.
Like they weren't really the main characters in this Toy Story.
Right. Which is okay. Like,
yeah, but I like all the main characters.
Oh, me too, me too. I didn't really have a problem with that because the new characters that they introduced were good.
Yeah.
They were good characters, like Ducky and Bunny were hilarious. Duke Kaboom was funny.
Yeah, we liked him.
Gabby Gabby, who was like the villain at first, but really at the end of the day just wanted somebody to love her, and you kind of felt bad for her.
That was one thing that I liked. I said at the end of the movie that I liked that she turned into like a good character.
Yeah.
Like we thought that she was like the villain, which like at first she kind of like was portrayed as that, but then in the end she was good. So I liked that it turned out that way.
Yeah, yeah.
And then her little sidekicks Benson and like
so
the dummies,
creepy.
so creepy, yeah. But they added like a funny like twist to it.
Yeah.
So.
The one thing I will say is I read a lot before I saw this movie about everyone was making such a big deal about Mr. Potato Head because Don Rickles, who voiced him, passed away.
Yeah.
And I read a number of articles that were like, oh, Disney had to dig back into the archives to, you know, find, you know, pieces of words and stuff and put his sentences together for Toy Story 4 so that, like, they could still use his voice because, I mean, nobody else is going to voice Mr. Potato Head at this point. But he had like 3 lines in the movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, it wasn't that hard,
deal,
you know?
Yeah.
And they weren't even like complex lines. He was just like, hey, watch it. You know, like the typical things you would expect Mr. Potato Head to say. But yeah, anyway, I was glad they used his voice, which was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the new characters really took center stage here alongside Woody. Again, like I said, this movie was really about Woody's arc. Long story short, Forky escapes and Woody is trying to get him back to Bonnie so that she doesn't notice that he's missing because he knows how much Forky means to Bonnie.
Yep.
So that's really the plot of the movie, and they end up in the antique shop, which is where they meet Gabby Gabby and Benson and some of the, you know, other toys that pop up in there as well.
Yeah.
But again, like, this movie is really just about Woody.
And Bo Peep.
And right, yeah.
Bo Peep also plays like a huge role in this movie. She comes back. Woody finds her not in the antique shop. He finds her like at the carnival because she's now a lost toy. She doesn't have an owner and she's kind of doing her own thing and she's happy that way. But it kind of like goes through the story of like Woody and Bo Peep like joining back together and I don't know, I guess you could say like falling back in love in a way.
Yeah, I mean, we always knew Woody loved Bo Peep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she like looks completely different than the first movie, so she kind of like comes back with a whole new look. And
yeah, and speaking of looks, I will say too, this movie was so visually impressive. Like, that's one of the big takeaways I got out of this. This was a beautifully made movie. Like, easily the best animation out of any of the Toy Story movies, which, I mean, would make sense. It's been 10 years since the last one, so obviously technology has improved.
Has it been?
10 years, yeah.
Since Toy Story 3?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's been a while. Also, I will say this was easily the funniest Toy Story movie that they've made. We laughed the whole time in the theater. Ducky and Bunny were the funny ones.
Yeah.
Everyone was funny, but they were standouts. Obviously, Key and Peele were really funny, so
Yeah.
you knew they were going to bring that humor to the role. But yeah, just joke after joke, like it was very, very funny.
Yeah.
And then we get to the ending of the movie.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it can go either way. And you know, again, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you've watched the video to this point, here comes like major spoilers for the end, so that's your second warning, even though you shouldn't need a second warning.
Yeah, but some people that I've talked to really liked this ending. I cried. It was sad. So it was sad in a good way and a bad way, because like Woody's moving on with Bo Peep and they're gonna be together and everything, but I didn't like also how he just left all like the originals behind.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that they're apart. Like everybody should be together.
So
in my opinion.
Yeah. So basically at the end of the movie what happens is that Woody's kind of faced with a choice to kind of go rogue and be like a lost toy and run off with Bo Peep, or you know, join Buzz and Jesse and the gang and you know, kind of hang back with them. But Woody kind of felt like he served his purpose, like he had his owners.
Yeah.
You know, he had his time with Andy, and you know, it's just he was ready to move on, really, from being a toy that had an owner.
Yeah.
And he does choose to go with Bo Peep. They kind of ride off into the sunset. He takes off his sheriff badge, gives it to Jesse.
Yeah, he's like passing on the torch.
Yeah, because you know, he passed the torch on to Jesse and Buzz and the rest of those guys, and kind of is off now doing his own thing. And you know, they kind of said goodbye to them, and that was it.
And he like said bye to them, and like the camera just like panned across like all the originals, and that's when I started crying.
Yeah.
And even just the goodbye between Woody and Buzz, like I felt like it should have been so much more than that. Like they were like, they're the duo, like Woody and Buzz, and then like their goodbye was like sad and like thoughtful, but like I felt like it should have been way more than that.
Yeah,
it was like way too quick.
I agree. And also like there hasn't been anything that's come out to say that they are making another movie. Like this, as far as we know, is the end of the Toy Story franchise. And for me, like I didn't feel satisfied.
No,
you know, I know a lot of people loved it. A lot of people, you know, liked what they did with Woody and whatever. But to me, the perfect movie ending was Toy Story 3.
Yeah, I agree.
After seeing Toy Story 3, they should have just stopped it right then and there.
Yeah.
This movie, after already obviously seen 3, kind of felt unnecessary.
Yeah.
In a way.
I feel like if they... So now that they did make this movie and they didn't just leave it at Toy Story 3 with that ending, I feel like they need to make a Toy Story 5 and have a different ending.
A different ending of some sort.
Because this movie didn't seem like the correct or like a substantial enough ending to end the whole series.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I know I've heard like the actors say, like Tim Allen and Tom Hanks have said like they're not making any more movies after this. But like, I would really hope they did a Toy Story 5 to wrap everything up after this movie. And
they've all been so spaced out, so they can kind of stick with that theming for like a few years, and then you know, all of a sudden Toy Story 5's coming out. That's kind of happened with 3, between 3 and 4. But yeah, like to me, Toy Story 3 was like the perfect movie.
Yeah.
You know, everything was perfect. Andy passed the torch on to Bonnie and gave her the toys, and the toys, they all had a happy ending. Yeah. They were all together. To me, that was how it should have ended.
Yeah, me too. I agree with that.
Yeah, but let us know your thoughts. Again, we really liked the movie.
Yeah.
It was just a couple of things here and there, and the ending we honestly weren't really crazy about. Yeah. To me, 3 would have been the perfect way to end the series, but we got 4, and a lot of people love it. A lot of people love it. Again, I liked the movie a lot. It was very funny. It was well written. Yeah. The new characters were great. Animation was awesome. Just the ending kind of, it didn't feel like this is the end to me.
Yeah, me neither.
But let us know your thoughts. We want to hear from you guys. Drop us a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of the ending. If you agree with us, if you disagree with us, this is why we do these things. Yeah. It's opinions, and everyone's entitled to them, but we would definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. But a lot of reviews have, you know, been really, really positive. Yeah. But I have seen some people that, you know, were left wanting more. Yeah. And that's fine. Like, you should always leave them wanting more if you're not wrapping up a franchise to a movie. You know, I didn't want any more.
And such an iconic franchise. Like, these characters are so big in people's lives. Like Toy Story is such an awesome franchise that I just feel like this ending wasn't good enough to complete the whole series. So
agreed.
But yeah,
yeah.
Let us know what you think down below.
Yeah. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a nice big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. And again, leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about Toy Story 4. Until next time, we'll see you real soon.
Bye.
Bye.